Welcome to Pagoda Podcast, where we explore ideas, strategies, and insights to help businesses grow and scale. I'm your host, Steve, and today we're doing a deep dive into a question that keeps a lot of founders up at night. Or maybe, more accurately, a question they don't think about until it's absolutely too late. Is your business actually ready for acquisition? Joining me to unpack this is Nigam, the CEO of Black Pagoda. It's great to have you here to walk us through this.
It is a pleasure to be here. This is a topic that is arguably the most critical blind spot in the entrepreneurial world. We see so many business owners struggling with this, often right when the stakes are at their highest.
And looking at the materials we have for this deep dive, it seems like the stakes are high because the definition of success is a bit misunderstood.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people listening, the immediate reaction to, are you ready to sell is, well, sure, if someone writes me a check with enough zeros, I'm ready.
Right. That is the classic confusion between, willingness and readiness.
Yeah.
Just because you are willing to cash a check doesn't mean your business is ready to justify that check.
That is a really important distinction.
Most people think readiness is an emotional state. I'm tired. I want to retire. I want to move to a beach. But the market is cold. The market doesn't care about your burnout or your retirement plans. The market only cares about the asset.
That's a stark way to put it, but it aligns with the data we're looking at. So let's strip it down. When you say a business is acquisition ready, we aren't talking about the founder's mindset. What are we physically talking about?
At its absolute core, acquisition readiness is the ability of the business to stand on its own.
Yeah.
It is about independence.
Stand on its own, meaning if you take the founder out of the equation, the building doesn't just, fall down.
Precisely. Think of it as the ultimate stress test. If you, the owner, stepped away for 3 months, no emails, no calls, total radio silence, does the business grow? Does it maintain? Or does it slowly or quickly collapse? Buyers are looking for an independent entity, not a high-stress job that you've disguised as a company.
That is a painful distinction for a lot of us. I think there's a common myth, and the source material touches on this, that revenue is the only metric that matters. The idea that if I hit 5 million in sales, I'm automatically ready.
That is dangerous thinking. It is the revenue Band-Aid theory. You can have a company doing 10 million in top-line revenue, but if it is a chaotic mess behind the scenes, if the margins are eroding, if staff is turning over every 6 months, that is not a sellable asset. That is a headache.
So a buyer isn't just buying the cash flow, they're buying the engine that produces the cash flow.
Correct. They are looking for 3 specific things: clarity, consistency, and reduced risk. It isn't just about how much money the business makes. It is about how the business operates. We often ask, is your business a machine or is it a magic trick?
I love that image. A machine or a magic trick? Because you can buy a machine, you can get the manual, push the button, and it works. But a magic trick?
A magic trick requires the magician, and buyers cannot buy your magic. If the business relies on your personal charisma, your handshake, or your specific genius to function, it's not transferable. And if it's not transferable, it is not valuable.
So if we accept that readiness is about the how and not just the how much, let's look at the specific indicators. You've outlined 4 main pillars of readiness. I want to spend some time on these. The first one is financial hygiene.
Yes. Financial hygiene. It sounds boring, I know.
It sounds like flossing. We know we should do it, but we'd rather just brush and go.
It is exactly like flossing. If you don't do it, eventually the rot sets in. Financial hygiene is the #1 indicator because financials are the language of business.
Okay, but let's get specific. When you say hygiene, we aren't just talking about paying taxes on time. What specifically is a buyer looking for?
They're looking for reality. Clean and reliable financials are the very first thing a buyer looks at to verify that the business is real. If I'm looking to buy your company, I need to look at a P&L or a balance sheet and know instantly that what I am seeing is the truth.
So no shoeboxes full of receipts?
Please, no shoeboxes. But it goes deeper. It's about categorization and methodology. For example, are you running on cash basis or accrual accounting?
Let's pause there because that is a technical term that trips people up. Can you explain the difference in this context?
Sure. Cash basis is simple. You record money when it hits the bank, but it doesn't tell the true story of profitability. You might have a huge month of cash because 3 clients paid late, but you actually did very little work.
Right.
Accrual accounting matches the revenue to when it was earned and the expenses to when they were incurred. It shows the true economic performance of the engine.
So accrual is about accuracy over time. It prevents those weird spikes where it looks like you made $1 million in December just because everyone paid their invoices at once.
Exactly. And if your numbers are muddy, or if you are mixing personal expenses with business expenses, putting the family car or the vacation on the company card, the value becomes unclear.
And there is a psychological component to this too, right? If I am a buyer and I see messy books, I don't just think you are bad at math.
No. You think, what are they hiding?
It breeds suspicion.
Instantly. Muddy numbers signal risk. And in the acquisition game, risk is the enemy of value. If I can't trust the dashboard, I'm not going to drive the car. Or if I do, I'm going to pay significantly less for it.
That makes perfect sense. Financial hygiene isn't just about compliance, it is about trust. Okay, let's move to the second pillar. This one, based on the notes, seems like the hardest emotional hurdle. Owner independence.
This is the ego killer.
The ego killer. Why?
Because most entrepreneurs start a business because they are good at something. They are the best salesperson, the best coder, the best chef. The business grows around their unique genius. It feeds the ego to be the person everyone relies on.
Only I can fix this. Or the clients only want to talk to me.
Exactly. I'm the rainmaker. But for a business to be acquisition ready, it needs systems and processes that do not rely on the owner. This goes back to the machine versus the magic trick.
So you have to, fire yourself from the day-to-day?
You have to optimize yourself out of the critical path. We call it the test. If you cannot leave your phone at home and disappear for a month without the revenue dropping, you do not own a business. You have a high-paying, high-stress job.
And nobody wants to buy your job.
Nobody. They want to buy an asset that generates returns while they sleep. If the buyer has to come in and work 80 hours a week just to keep the lights on, that is not an investment.
This is often referred to as key person risk, right?
Yes, it is a massive liability.
Right.
If you are the only one holding the key client relationships or the only one with the technical know-how and you sell the business and leave, what did I just buy? An empty shell. The value walks out the door with you.
So how do you solve that? You can't just clone the founder.
You have to download your brain into systems. You need a playbook, standard operating procedures, or SOPs.
A playbook. Like in sports.
Exactly. If the star quarterback gets injured, the team can still run the plays because everyone knows the system. The business has to demonstrate it can stand on its own, independent of the founder. That shifts the value from the person to the entity.
That shift seems vital, and it connects directly to the third indicator in your framework. Stability. You mentioned predictable revenue.
Yes. Stability is boring. But in acquisitions, boring is beautiful.
Boring is beautiful. That's counterintuitive for entrepreneurs. We love the hockey stick growth chart.
Spikes are great for cocktail parties, but they are terrible for valuation. Buyers want predictability. They want to know that if they put $1 in, they will get $1.50 out repeatedly. If your revenue chart looks like a roller coaster, that screams risk.
It suggests you don't really have control over your market. It looks like luck.
Correct. Or it suggests you are relying on one big whale client.
Customer concentration. That is a huge one.
That is a deal killer. If 60% of your revenue comes from one client, and that client leaves when you sell, the business collapses. Predictability reduces the perceived risk for a buyer.
And stable operations refers to the internal side of that, not fighting fires every day.
Yes, exactly. And it means the fire station is quiet because everyone knows fire safety. A chaotic operational environment scares buyers off.
That connects so well. So we have clean financials, an owner who isn't the bottleneck, and boring, predictable stability. That leads us to the fourth indicator, data organization.
It sounds tactical, but it is strategic. This is about making the due diligence process straightforward.
Due diligence. That's the phase where the buyer lifts up the hood and checks every wire.
It is the colonoscopy of business. It is invasive, it is thorough, and it is uncomfortable. They look at everything. Contracts, employee agreements, IP filings.
And this is where deals go to die.
All the time. Imagine a buyer asks for your customer contracts from 2 years ago to verify retention rates. If you were digging through old emails or looking at a dusty filing cabinet,
or worse, you say, I think we shook hands on that one.
that kills confidence immediately. But there's another factor, time. We often see deal fatigue.
What's that?
It's when a deal drags on so long because the seller can't find documents or answer questions quickly, the momentum dies, the buyer starts to second guess. Eventually, they just walk away. Time kills all deals.
So having a data room ready, a digital place where everything is filed and sorted, is actually a signal of value.
It is a signal of competence. It says, we have nothing to hide, we are professional, and we respect your time. A clean data room can actually increase the valuation.
I really like that word you just used before, risk, but another one is coming to mind. When we look at all these pillars, the financials, the independence, the stability, it feels like it's all about one thing. It's about removing friction.
That is the unifying theory.
Yeah.
Friction.
Every unanswered question, every messy spreadsheet, I'll have to get back to you on that. It just creates friction. It slows things down.
And it creates doubt. Doubt is the friction of the mind. As a buyer, if I have to work hard just to understand how your business makes money, I'm going to assume there are problems I haven't found yet.
So the easier your business is to understand and operate, the more attractive it becomes.
Complexity and confusion lower value. Simplicity and transparency raise it. It is that simple. You want a plug-and-play asset.
That is such a powerful way for our listeners to think about it. Look at your company and ask, where is the friction? Is it friction for my employees, my customers, and ultimately for a future buyer?
Exactly. And usually if there's friction for a buyer, there is friction for you right now, costing you money every day.
This brings us to a really critical question, which is the when. Because honestly, this all sounds like a lot of work. Converting accounting, writing SOPs, this isn't a weekend project.
No, absolutely not. And that is the trap.
The trap of, I'll fix it when I'm ready to sell.
Right. We call it the staging the house fallacy. People think, oh, I'll just clean up the books and write down the processes when I put it on the market. But a business isn't a house. You can't just throw a coat of paint on structural issues.
You can't fake 3 years of predictable revenue in a month.
Precisely. You cannot fake a culture of documentation overnight. And you certainly cannot remove yourself from daily operations 2 weeks before a sale. The buyer will see right through that.
So what's a realistic timeline here?
These fixes need to happen well before you ever talk to a buyer. Ideally, 12 to 24 months out. It is a proactive strategy.
And this is really where your work comes in, right? The approach isn't just, we will sell your company. It sounds like you act as trusted advisors to get the house in order first.
That is our entire philosophy. We help owners identify these readiness gaps early. We act as that external set of eyes, almost like a pre-audit.
You stress test the business before the market does.
We look at the business and say, okay, your financials are a B-, your owner dependency is a D, and your data is an F.
That must be a tough conversation sometimes.
It can be, but wouldn't you rather hear it from me 2 years before you sell, when you still have time to fix it? Or would you rather hear it from a buyer who just used those flaws to lower their offer by $2 million?
Or walked away entirely. It's preventative medicine.
Exactly. We work to fix these issues long before acquisition talks begin. And here is the secret, and this is for the listener who might be thinking, well, I don't want to sell for 5 years, or maybe never.
Right. Why does this matter to me today if I love my business?
The value of early action is that by addressing these areas, financials, systems, data, you strengthen the business immediately, even if you never sell.
Wait, that is a huge point. Let's pause on that. You are saying that the things that make a business sellable are the exact same things that make it easier to run.
Exactly. Think about it. Who doesn't want clean financials to make better decisions? Who doesn't want a business that can run without them constantly putting out fires? Who doesn't want predictable revenue? When you build for exit, you are actually just building a better business.
So acquisition ready is really just code for best in class.
It is. It is about freedom. If you build a business that is ready to be acquired, you have options. You can sell it, sure, but you can also just keep running it. But now you are running it with less stress, more profit, and more time back in your day.
That is the aha moment for me. We frame this as exit planning, but it is really sanity planning.
Ideally, yes. It puts the owner back in the driver's seat. You aren't a hostage to your own creation anymore. You own the machine. The machine doesn't own you.
I love that. So let's recap. We started with the definition. Acquisition readiness means the business can stand on its own. It's about clarity, consistency, and risk reduction.
And we broke down the 4 pillars: financial hygiene, owner independence, stability, and data organization.
All leading to that core principle, removing friction. The smoother it runs, the easier it is to understand, the more it is worth.
And finally, the timing. You don't do this at the finish line. You do it during training. Preparation, not urgency.
That is the key takeaway. Acquisition readiness is built through preparation, not urgency. If you wait until you have to sell to get ready, you have already lost value.
You've lost leverage. And in any negotiation, leverage is everything.
So for the listener who is sitting there thinking, okay, I have no idea if my financials are hygienic or if my data is a disaster zone, where do they even start?
You need an assessment. You need to look in the mirror. And that is what we do at Black Pagoda, implementing clarity, systems, and predictability. It increases both your confidence as an owner and the business's ultimate value.
And having a partner to guide that process seems invaluable.
We help you read the label from inside the jar, and then we help you rewrite it.
Well, this has been a fantastic deep dive. It's not just about the hustle, it's about the hygiene.
Hygiene, systems, and predictability. It is the unsexy stuff that leads to the sexiest exits.
There you go. The unsexy stuff leads to the best exits. I want to thank you for joining us and sharing these insights.
Thank you. It is always great to discuss this.
For everyone listening, if you want to stop guessing and start knowing if your business is ready, or if you want to start that process of turning your business into a machine, you should check out the resources we talked about.
Absolutely. Don't wait until it is too late.
You can learn more about preparing your business for acquisition by visiting www.blackpagoda.com. Think of the website not just as a brochure, but as a resource for insights and guidance to help you get started on this journey.
It is the first step toward clarity.
Thanks for listening to this deep dive. Go check out the site, look at your systems, and ask yourself that hard question. If I left for a month, would my business grow or would it stall? That is the question to chew on this week. We'll see you next time.